welcome to the 70th episode of NiinaN Knitting. My name is Niina and I live in Jyväskylä in central Finland with my husband, our 2 kids and a dog. Today is Tuesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And this is my video where I will talk about some of the knitting and crochet stuff that I've made. I also have a bit of yarn to show you, and then I'll give you a tip for reading at the very end of the episode. So if you're not interested in that, you can just skip it. Yes, it's been a while again. At first, I didn't think I had much to show you, but in the end, well, I do have quite a bit. But let's start with the finished objects as always. I had just started this pair last time, and look at them now. So here's where I was last time, and this pattern is called Catching Rays Socks. Yes, Catching Rays Socks by Judy Sumner. And I had just started. Here's my progress keeper. They're cuff down sock, and I was knitting them 2 at a time on magic loop. And I'm just gonna show you one of them, because look how this yarn acted in the pattern. I mean, it is amazing. This yarn is Frau Odersocke Sockenwolle. This yarn, it's what I ordered last fall. English Rosen is English rose in German, and oh my goodness, it is the prettiest ever. And in this patterning, I really love the fan effect in here, and the colorway is just amazing in it. And see how it looks when you're doing just plain stock in it on a stitch count that doesn't change when you're just going round and round. It's very pretty. It is very pretty. And then here, of course, after the or in the gusset, after I'd picked up the stitches from the heel flap, it's of course different because you have a lot more stitches. And this is something I did different from the pattern. I think in the pattern the gusset decreases were here where they normally are, but I decided to put them on the sole of the foot, and I did them in 2 sets, or and afterwards, now that I think of it, I think it would have been better to just decrease this, just to decrease them at one go. But it fits really nice. I tried it on, of course, before I did the toe, because this sock is a little bit smaller than mine. But it fits really nicely around the heel bone, whatever it's called. Yeah, so that's a nice change that I made to the pattern. But this is very pretty, and of course you could have made more repeats of the same pattern, but I just did it this way. And you have the sort of yarn overs here, and then this is a play on decreases and twisted rib. The only thing that I wish I'd done differently was that before I started the heel flap, I could have made a few rounds of stockinette, because this yarn over here stretches a little bit here at the corner of the ankle, so it would have been better to have a little bit of stockinette before starting the heel flap, but it's pretty okay anyway, nonetheless. But they are very, very pretty. I'm so happy with the color, and they're for a girl who's turning 11, so I think she'll like them, and I really, really do. I have quite a bit of yarn left, and I do have an idea for the leftover, but we'll see what happens. But Catching Ray's Socks by Judy Sumner, and 2.5 millimeter Chowgu needles. That's US size 1.5, and knitting them 2 at a time on magic loop, and I'm very, very happy with them. Last time I showed you the pair of socks that I'd knit for my niece, the eldest one, with some Frau Odersocke yarn, and I had quite a bit left, I think about 40 grams or so, and I had an idea what to make of it. I've mentioned this before, but I don't have a lot of experience on toe-up socks. I've made a few, but not a lot, and it's just a really good way to use up your yarn if you're making them toe up. So I decided to choose a contrasting color for the toes and the cuff, and then see what I could make of the Frau Odersocke yarn, and this is how they turned out. So I'll just show you one. Take some of my hair off of the sock. This green yarn here is Lanitiomex Machina glitter sock yarn. It's 70% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and 5% Leena. The colorway is called Alice in Wonderland, How Long is Forever. And this, I think, was a sort of a club yarn or something I bought ages ago. But yeah, so that's this green yarn. So I cast on from the toe. I used Judy's Magic Cast On. I knit them 2 at a time on magic loop. So I started with the toe, made the increases, and once I had increased enough until I had 64 stitches on the needles, so 32 and 32, I changed to the other yarn, and I chose this motif that's on the top of the foot from a stitch dictionary that I have. It is Vogue Knitting Stittionary. I got it from one of my sisters once, and this is a 20 repeat motif. I have the link to my Ravelry project page down below in the description bar, and I have made my project public, so you don't have to be a member or signed in on Ravelry to see my project page. But I have mentioned this motif, which page of the Stittionary it's from. But it was 20 stitches wide. And I only put it here on the top of the foot naturally. The sole of the foot is just plain stockinette, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you the ball band. I forgot to. So this is how Odersocke Pink Rose is the colorway called, and for the heel pattern I used Minna Sorvali's lamest socks pattern, because I don't have it memorized, but I changed it a little bit so that I started making the increases here on the sole of the foot. Let's see if I can, which sock is better. Oh, they're pretty much the same. Let's see if I can get it to show. It's just right in the black part where I started increasing, but I have two stitches apart, like 2 stitches in the middle and then the increases, because in the other socks, the first socks I showed you, I had, well, it was cuffed down, but I had made the decreases so that they were, side by side, didn't have any give between them, and I found that they get stretched quite a bit. So I figured that if I have a few plain knit stitches between the increases, it'll be easier to stretch the sock, and it'll look nicer. But the sort of the length of the foot, or the point where I started doing the increases, is from Minna Sorvali's pattern, and this was in the pattern. I don't know if it was intentional, but since I don't do toe-up socks too much, I just did it as in the pattern. But she had these slip stitches also like under the heel a little bit. I don't know if it was intentional. I think next time I'll just do plain stockinette here, like most of the time I do when I'm doing cuff down. But yeah, the slip stitches look really, really nice in this yarn. I absolutely love it, how it brings forward the differences in the colors. It is amazingly beautiful. So made the heel turn, and then I just knit up, continued doing the motif, and then I ran out of this yarn, and I started doing plain stockinette on the Lanitium Ex Machina yarn, then did a little bit of a turn. This is the name, but I don't remember what it is. You do yarn over, 2 together, yarn over, 2 together, around, and then you knit a little bit more stockinette. I'm going to show you how it looks inside. Actually going to show you the other sock, the one that is properly finished now. So here. So you continue doing plain stockinette, and then at the end, in this version, I have it grafted together with some purl stitches from the inside of the sock, and that way you turn the cuff. This is not my original version, but this is the one that I liked better, because I did try the three needle bind off, which is this. So when I had made some stockinette after the yarn over row, I picked up all stitches from one row of these like dark colors, and then I did a 3 needle bind off, but it's thick, and I don't think it'll feel nice around your ankle. It stretches okay, because I made it sure not to do it too tightly, so the stretch is all right, but it is too thick. I don't think it's nice. So I'm going to undo this one also, because of course I had done both of them the same way on before I decided that no, it's not good. So this one I have already undone the bind off and then Kitchenered the bind off sort of. But these socks are my first Christmas present for the year. Actually, no, I've sewn some before, but this is the first knit Christmas present. So I'm going to give these socks to the same niece who got the like full length socks already. And I have sewn those bags. If you've seen my sewing editions, I've sewn those bags out of denim, and I've already sewn 2, and there are 3 nieces. So for the first one, I'll give 1 bag and give these socks in the bag. So this is my Christmas present, knit Christmas present number 1. I used my 2.5 millimeter needles. That's US size 1.5, and I think I used my Chaugu needles. I haven't marked it down, but they are my favorite. So this one's done. Look at this little one. This is Bluebird of Happiness by Sarah Elizabeth Kellner. I have made a few before, but one of my daughter's teachers is having a baby, and she's going, actually she already left to maternity leave, and I decided to knit them just this little bird. I was using the Frau Odersocke yarn that I used in the first socks. So this is the English and Rosen colorway, and 2.5 millimeter DPNs, and that's US size 1.5. And the original pattern uses worsted weight yarn. So this one is a little fiddly to knit, but it's possible, and it's super cute. So I'll have my daughter make the teacher a card, and then we'll attach this one to the card, and I'm sure somebody from the school will go and pay a visit to the mother and the baby once it's born, he or she is born. Yeah, this is a really, really small project, but very cute. The last really finished object I have today is something that I no longer have here with me. It's a shawl that I knit for my mother-in-law. I'll pop a picture. It's not a great one, but you know. So the pattern is called Soli Deo Gloria Lace Shawl. It's by Anna Victoria. And the yarn I used, I do have a ball band though, is this Isager Trio. Oh, it's not gonna focus. Wow. Anyway, Isager Trio yarn. This is 50% flax, like linen, 30% cotton, and 20% bamboo. And there are 350 meters in 50 grams, so it's 700 meters in 100 grams. I used a little bit over 50 grams. I didn't weigh the shawl after I finished it. Actually, I did weigh the rest of the yarn, so I used 57 grams of yarn plus beads. This pattern has tons of beads. The original pattern has over 1,000 beads. I didn't have that many. I had about 400 or so beads. So I decided there are a lot of charts in the pattern. So 7 or 8 charts. And I decided, I counted the number of beads in the last charts and decided that if I put the beads in the two last charts, then I'll have enough. And I did. I think it looks really nice that way too. My mother-in-law really liked it. I forgot to mention the colorway. It's Nougat, and it's really, really nice. I'm not gonna lie and say that it was an easy thing to knit. First of all, I think the pattern recommends fingering weight yarn, and 700 meters in 100 grams is lace. So I didn't make it easy for myself. Second of all, my yarn is 50% linen, 30% cotton, so not stretchy at all. Pretty hard on the hand, really. And yeah, not easy to knit into a shawl. And then there were the charts. I like charts, don't get me wrong. I love the Knit Companion app because it makes following charts so much easier. So I know I would not have been able to make this shawl if I hadn't been using the app. If I had printed the pattern and then used post-it notes or something that I used to do before, I would have gone crazy, really. But yes, so I managed to do that. I was cutting it close. It was my mother-in-law's birthday last week, and I was making it for her birthday. But last weekend, my husband and his siblings all went to the countryside with my mother-in-law and, you know, all of us, the families. And so we had a bit of a celebration in there, and I gave her the shawl in there, and I finished it late Thursday, well, actually early Friday morning, around 4 a.m. So cutting it pretty close because I needed to soak it and lay it flat to dry so that, you know, it would look pretty. So that was quite an ordeal. But why would you make something easy for yourself? Yes, but it's there. It was nice. My mother-in-law appreciated it. And would I make it again? No. The charts or the motifs, you had a number of repeats on each row of the sort of chart. But the edges of the charts weren't fixed. So yes, I used stitch markers, and if I hadn't, I would have lost my mind again. But every now and then you had to move the stitch marker. So that was quite a bit of a pain, but I managed to do it. I'm happy that I did, and I'm happy to have finished the shawl. It was beautiful. I chose it. But it was really beautiful, but yeah, not the easiest thing to knit, even though you only need to know knit stitches, purl stitches, yarn overs, and a couple of decreases, increases kind of things. Well, not even increases, decreases, different kind of decreases. But yeah, not for the beginners. I have decided to call this episode The Return of the Kalevala Blanket. And yes, here it is. It's not finished, but I have quite a few squares more. So the Kalevala blanket was something that celebrated 100 years of Kalevala. Kalevala is the national epic in Finland. and it's a book about, you know, it's a compilation of stories of how the world came to be, I guess. I have read some of it, not all of it, and I can't remember much of it, but yes. So it was something that it happened 2017, I think, and there was one square a week, I think, but I didn't make it then. But now I've picked it up again. So it's by various Finnish crochet designers. Yes, that's what I've marked down. And all the yarns that I have are Menita Lasse yarns in different colors. It's a set that I ordered from the designers, or whatever, the people who hosted the crochet along. But this square is called Sangmontaonta, Forging the Sampo. Sampo was a machine to make money or something in Kalevala. So this square was pretty okay to make. I think I did have to use or follow the instructions from the video tutorial. They have a really good video tutorials. They're still online, but nothing actually too tricky to crochet in here, and nothing too painful either. These stitches, whatever they're called, were okay. I think these are these popcorn stitches? Something, I don't know. They're okay to crochet, because there are some that I really don't like. But I don't think, oh well, yes, they have these front post stitches here. The lighting's not great because it comes from the sort of side of the camera. Maybe I could try and open the blinds from there, from behind the camera. Oh well, I don't know if that makes any difference. Yeah, so this is Sammontaonta. And the next square is called Tuonelan Joutsen. This one is very crinkly. Swan of Tuonela. Tuonela is where people go when they die. As you can see, it needs some blocking. I didn't enjoy knitting this or crocheting this. I hate these front posts. This is like front triple whatever or something post. I don't enjoy them, but I understand they do give a nice look to the finish, to the finished object. It looks nice, but they're a pain. They're a pain to crochet. In my humble opinion, I'm not much of a crocheter, but you know, I can do it. It's just not as enjoyable as knitting, but it's fine. Yeah, and I think this looks pretty, but it wasn't fun to crochet. That's life. Well, the next one, my version is not pretty. This is called Neidon Maiden Spindle, and you have a lot of these front post things in here. The version on the tutorial video was very pretty. Mine, well, you can see it's all wonky. I think it's has to do with the yarn I used. The yarn that was on the video was totally different. So, because this is like a kind of a rustic yarn, 75% wool, 25% polyamide. So it's a sock yarn. It's an Aran weight, I think, 200 meters in 100 grams. But yeah, it doesn't look very pretty, but it's just one square. And I don't know what blocking will do, if it helps a little of the wonkiness. Because of course the yarn isn't relaxed at all now. Yeah, I have just crocheted it, you know, like been twisting and turning, so maybe it'll look different after blocking. But yeah, this is it. And then there is this square, which is called Nuotio Valkea, Fire and Light. This is pretty okay. Doesn't look good here. Don't have anything to put behind it, do I? Don't know if that helped at all, but yeah. In my color palette, or the set that I got, I don't know if I like it. One of the different color sets had this part in like bright orange, and yes, that looked like fire, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't remind me of fire and light at all in these colors, but oh well, it is what it is. And then there was another not a very fun square to crochet. This one is called Pohjolan hat, the Pohjola wedding. These are supposed to be like crowns, because I think in some people's, even here in Finland, in the olden days, had the sort of a wedding crown for the bride's crown or something, and this is what's sort of representing the crown. Again, these no, these are the popcorns, but then these were just 3 double crochets together or something. Don't remember, but a lot of front post and back post stitches, so not very fun to crochet, but again, possible if you wanted to. When there's will, there's way. The last one that I have finished now is this square. It's called Tellervo. Tellervo is a woman's name. It's one of the characters in Kalevala. I don't remember what her part was, what she did in there, but yeah. Let's see if this makes it easier to see. Well, maybe a little. This was not difficult at all, and I didn't even use the video to crochet this or this either. I just followed the instructions. But yeah, so as you can see, the Kalevala blanket is making some progress. I think this is square number 19 or something, and there are 24, 26 or something squares in the blanket. And then of course there is the joining of the squares, and you know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I have been using my 4.0 millimeter hook when I crochet those, so it's the letter G. The last work in progress that I'm going to show you is the Il Burato scarf. Il Burato scarf by Nathan Taylor. I've only done one more motif of the scarf, but here it is. I'm not sure if it looks better on camera than in real life, But yes, I have to admit, the color combination isn't great. So it's double knitting, and there is quite a nice motif in here, but it gets sort of blended in with the colors. My idea in here, so this is where I was last time, and it's only this part that I've made after I last showed you this scarf. So my idea here is that I use the fingering weight yarns that, well, let me start that again. I'm using yarns, leftover yarns from projects that I finished this year, fingering weight yarns, and I'm trying to use like a solid and a variegated or non-solid color together, because otherwise it'll look even worse together. So actually these two, if you look at them like this is Novita. I used it for socks. Well, this one is also something I used for socks. This is Knit Picks fingering, stroll fingering something, self-striping thing. They don't look bad together like this, side by side, but and like this, I thought that the contrast would be okay. But when doing double knitting, well, it could be, the contrast could be better, let's just say. I think sort of the combination, the color combination makes the yellow or mustard, whatever the color is called, look even like a little muddy, even muddier. This is it's not a bright yellow. It is sort of a mustard, but it's not as muddy as it looks in here, I think. But yeah, it's a scrap yarn project for the year, and it'll be at least interesting. It'll be fun to see. Oh yeah, I made those socks and yeah, and so forth. But yeah, this is another whip that's going forward whenever I have suitable yarn for it. I actually did start beanie last night, but I just cast on, and I have like 1/2 centimeter of ribbing, so I'll show that to you next time. Oh yeah, these needles, my Chaugu red lace needles, are size 3 millimeter, that's US size 2.5. Yeah, that's all of those projects. And last but not least, the sort of a tale of woe kind of thing. The yarn that I talked about last time when I told you that I had some yarn coming in the mail and it was stuck in the customs and all of that. I have it here. It is beautiful, and I have a plan for that specific yarn. So actually, I'm just going to show you what I got in that specific package. So this is the February Marvelous Monthly Minis Club from Giddy Yarns. I'll show you this way. I like them a lot. They're really nice. And I explained last time that I had asked Helen, who's the dyer of the Giddy Yarns, if she could dye me the minis and a skein of yarn which will go together with the minis, so that I could make another one of the V-back tees. This is, I've made this from last year's yarn advent calendar from her, from Giddy Yarns. This is the back, of course. Don't remember the designer's name. I'll put it on the screen, of course. But yeah, so I really like this shirt, and I wanted to make another one. But I decided that I would order 2 packs of minis, like 5 and 5 of the Marvelous Minis club thing, so that I'd have 100 grams of yarn, and then another skein of 100 grams, so that should be enough for a t-shirt. And let's just try and show these all together. I'm gonna take these minis out of the box. So these are the minis. Not easy. And this is the skein of yarn. And it looks really, really nice. They are so beautiful together. I'm very, very pleased. They are amazingly beautiful. And I also have the January mini club minis in here. These are different shades of blue and turquoise and teal and whatever. How will I be able to show them? Not very well. So how will I sort of come about with them, or how will I decide which stripe will go where? This doesn't look good. Can't see much of anything. But I'm going to try and take a photo of these, which are the January minis, and the February minis, and the skein, the full skein. They have the same base, sock yarn base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 420 meters in 100 grams. I'm going to try and take a photo of them at the beginning of my project, before I start doing anything with them, before I even decide the order of the minis, because I'm going to start with the minis. No. It's going to start with the minis. I'll have 10 stripes, and then whenever I run out of the minis, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's like here under the boobs. That's where this skein will start. That's sort of my plan right now. We'll see if it changes. I don't think so. I'm gonna do the use up the minis, and then I'm gonna continue with this beauty. Oh, it's so nice. So very nice. Yeah, and then I'll have 2 great t-shirts to wear during the summer, whenever it comes. Well, you will have seen some video that I've taken here at the beginning of the episode, and I'm gonna put some at the very end of the episode. You'll see that, yeah, well, it's spring in here. Today it's maybe +5 degrees Celsius. I guess in Fahrenheit that's possibly somewhere around 40. So not very warm at all. Today it's sunny, but the weather forecasts predict even a little bit of snow at the end of the week. So this is how it is in Finland during spring. So no, we're not wearing our t-shirts or shorts yet, but maybe in the summertime I will. And maybe in the summertime I will have use for this shirt and the one that I'm going to be knitting from the yarns that I just got. And then I promised you a reading tip. Here it goes. Here's a tip that's not as much a book tip than a reading technique tip, although the book's okay also. So I'm just going to show you the original version first. I found this book at the library. It's by Lehtolainen, who is a Finnish writer, and this is the first of the Maria Kallio series, Ensimmäinen murhani. So I found this book at the library, both in Finnish and in French. Both are languages that I already know. And this is not the first time I've done this, but I read a chapter from the Finnish book, and then I read the same thing in the French version, and it was very, very interesting. Of course, because of my own intake on the matter, but it's very nice to read something that you sort of already know what happens, but just to get some input, some language input. So if you know a language and you're a little afraid to try and read a book in that language, a whole book in that language, maybe you can find a version that's both in your native language and in the foreign language in question. There was especially one thing that happened in the book, in the French version, that at first I was puzzled why the translator had translated it the way she had. This has been translated by a French lady whose name is... So this book has been translated into English, and it's called My First Murder. But the French version is called Mon Premier Meurtre, and the translator is called Anne Colin du Terrail. And so she had made a decision in her translating, and I was like, why did she do that? And later on in the book, when I read on, it got very clear why she had translated it the way she had. So that's sort of a nice little thing to know what kind of decisions and what kind of what a translator's work is like, what kind of things they have to think about and do while they're translating a book. It's not just reading a fun novel and then putting it into another language. There's a lot more to it. So for the book, Maria Kallio is the main character in the book. She's a police officer, some sort of a more than just plain inspector or something, I don't know. And she has gone to law school, but she doesn't really know what to do in life, so she's taken a year's break from her studies, and she's working as a substitute in the police force. And in this book, she starts to investigate the death of somebody that she actually knew at one point in her life, and there are other people she already knows involved in the matter too. So kind of a tricky thing. So the book's nice, but moreover, the idea of reading the same book both in a foreign language and in your own language.
I read Harry Potter's this way when one of my kids was a baby. I read the first Harry Potter in Finnish, the whole book, and then I read the entire thing also in English, and then later on I have listened to all the Harry Potters in French too. So that's a fun, different way to read books.
That's all from me today. As I mentioned before, you have the links to my project pages down below in the description box. If you have any kind of questions, don't hesitate to ask. And of course, I always appreciate if you leave me a comment. Click like and subscribe. See ya!